All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to InnoVEX 2024 and also to our AI Kickoff journey today. We have an incredible lineup of speakers to share the insights on AI computational optics and also the startup ecosystem. So before we move on to the amazing talks later, I think we should always remember this wonderful moment together. So I would like to invite all the speakers here with us today to take a group photo. So first, can I have Mr. Noel Chan, the Senior Startup BD Manager from AWS, as well as Mr. Kang Woo Kang Chum, the CEO and founder of ThinkCol, Dr. Nuri Cankaya, the PhD VP AI Marketing of Intel, as well as Mr. Raveen Kumaran, the VP Innovation and Technology from Barco. Last but not least, Ms. Katrin Calledo, the Head of Partnership and Operations from StartupBlink. Onto the stage, please. So can I have the photographer to check if this standing is all right? 可以吗? Okay, come closer together. Let's look into the photographer in the middle. 3, 2, 1. All right, can we do a thumbs up? AI kickoff, super good. 3, 2, 1. Do we have all the photos that you need? 都拍到美好的画面了吗? All right, thank you so much, speakers, for joining us today. Please return to your seat. However, can I have Mr. Noel and Kane to remain on the stage to proceed to our very first keynote, ThinkCol's innovative approach to startup solution, as well as unleashing the power of generative AI on AWS. I'll hand over the stage to both of you.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here to share with you some of the very exciting moments in the Gen AI space. My name is Noel. I'm from AWS startup team based in Taipei. Today, together with me, we have our AWS very valuable clients and partner, ThinkCol's CEO, King, who flew all the way from Hong Kong to here to share with you his experience. So I will start first. Today I'm going to touch on a couple of topics. First, I'll talk about some innovation and opportunity in the space. Second, I will try to give you some example and try to emphasize the importance of data in this Gen AI kind of like development. Third, I'm going to talk about how AWS is able to help our clients to launch their Gen AI products and solutions. Finally, I would also talk about like some latest trend we observe in the latest development after working with our customer for the past like 12 months. Finally, I will pass the stage on to Kane to share his story and experience in building real Gen AI solution for his customers. So before we look forward, let's recap what we've seen in last year. So last year, we've seen an unprecedented attention, awareness on this new technology, generative AI. What usually for the new technology to achieve in 3 to 4 years of time in terms of user growth is just take less than 12 months for generative AI. Sorry. And I'm sure, I think for most of you here and also your companies, the first kind of like item on your to-do list last year was to understand, to learn about the technology. And the second is to conduct POCs, right? Because you have to be ahead of competitions. So we've worked with hundreds, thousands of our customers last year to conduct POCs. So last year, we kind of like name it as the year of POC for generative AI. Fast forward this year, after 12 years kind of like experiments, we believe organizations are now they have to adopt a production mindset in order to create a production grade system to generate tangible business value. We believe organizations will have to think carefully how they're gonna kind of like build their infrastructure in order to develop their client-specific Gen AI solutions. When we talk about production mindset, we have to, at the same time, take care of compliance, data privacy, and also I think think about how to build a responsible AI solution. So these are all the key that we think this year organizations will have to focus on. So what are the innovation opportunities? So the past couple of months, like we've worked with our clients, we kind of like summarized the key impact into 4 types. First, generating new experience, like by kind of like offering a more conversational interface for customers so that they would be kind of improve their user experience using the application. Second, improve productivity of our employees, helping them to like generate codes, create contact images and videos. Third is extracting insights from a set of complicated documents and also database. Last but not least, like GenAI would also be able to kind of like create ideas, and like for product management team, it also can help in the product management development as well. So these are the key kind of like opportunity we've seen, I think, in the space. We work with our customers. We've already developed a lot of kind of like viral products in the space across all the industry. The most common use case is chatbots and AI assistants. Recently, we've seen kind of like increasing demand for fraud detection, like using generative AI and also code generations. So these are the kind of like very common use cases in the space currently. Within Amazon ourselves, like we've actually worked with machine learning models, AI, for more than 25 years. And so upon the launch of like generative AI, we've already incorporated this technology into a lot of our business units and also our application. Like to name a couple of examples. Rufus, which is our shopping expert assistant on Amazon.com, which would be able to provide valuable kind of like shopping opinions, like giving you the latest kind of fashion trend to help our shoppers to make decisions. Second, you probably, I think, should be aware of, if you kind of like go to our Amazon.com, you see an AI-generated kind of like assistance to give you a lot of summaries about product features, so you could like use this to kind of like help your decision making as well. Last but not least, this is actually, I think, a very important, I think, for us, which is we launched an AI assistant on our Amazon Pharmacy in the US, which actually help a lot in terms of improving the efficiencies in terms of like creating the prescription, filing, and also the managing the data kind of like system in the train. I'm not going to go into detail. So next, we're going to talk about the data. So we think data in the stage of like GenAI kind of like development is the key differentiator, especially I think for corporates who like to build a kind of like very domain-specific solutions. So a lot of like people are currently still like focusing on the tip of the iceberg. I hear like the GenAI application, but underneath, what is actually more important is the data infrastructure. Like for example, we need operational database in order to support all the experience and also interaction step outside of LLM. So all the other stuff like you experience underneath actually need a very strong kind of like data structure, database. Analytics and data lakes are also very key, because this is kind of like how you accumulate your domain-specific data. So we believe like for like 20 years kind of like experience, we think data is actually, I think, the key elements that help companies to differentiate from competitions, helping people to kind of like distinguish between generic GenAI applications and the application really built to meet the end customers' needs and demand. So how actually the data will work for like company if they ask like how they use to use the data? Actually, there's like 3 main type of data in the Gen AI space that could be utilized. The first is called Retrieval Augmented Generation RAG. Actually, you don't have to build your own LLM. You just need to add a middle layer of data and then add some prompt engineering that you will be able to improve the accuracy of the answer from the LLM specific to your business need. And you don't have to need any coding and using RAG. Increasing the complexity down, we have fine-tuning, which actually you have to build something on top of the LLM to generate a new version of an LLM specific to your company. Last is continued pre-training. Actually, you have to, for this technique, you have actually to build a brand new LLM using your own company or industry data. Well, one good example, we've actually just launched with our customer, which is a traveling virtual agents. In the US, the customer use their own client informations to develop these tools to provide a more tailored and industry-specific answers for their customers. So to conclude, organization, if they want to build a viable Gen AI solution that create real business value, they have to think about how they actually store their data, how they source their data, structure their data, eventually how to integrate their data to optimize the process. After all this, they have to, at the end, they have to consider to have a data governance framework in place in order to make their AI product more responsive. So how AWS will be able to help? We have a very comprehensive tool to help our clients from the infrastructure level at the bottom to the application level. I'm going to touch on just a couple of them, which I think is the key currently. I think when we work with clients, the key solutions they are currently using. The first is SageMaker, which is our machine learning and AI platform. If your company has your own data scientists, so this is the platform that will be able to help them to streamline, and shorten the production process. Second is Bedrock. If you don't have a data science team, you don't want to build a lot of codes, this is the best tools that you could utilize to run the RAG, to fine-tune model without a lot of coding. And you still be able to access to the most up-to-date foundation models that currently we have in market. Last but not least, we just launched this, Amazon Q, which is an enterprise-level generative AI-powered assistant, which actually help a lot of companies to create insights from their database, and also for the development team, it actually helps a lot in terms of the building their code. So this is a very new tools that we offer to our enterprise clients, helping them to fully utilize their data to create insights and create business value. So the space actually has developed very quickly. And if you look at the production cycle, the update cycle is we're talking about 3 months, 4 months, we'll see a new product from different AI companies. So it's very difficult to predict what's next in the next 12 months. But from our experience working with our clients, we spot a couple of trends that would be very important, I think, in the space of development. One thing I would like to highlight is multiple models. So we've seen a lot of clients from working with just one LLM models, and after a lot of experiments, they're now opting for working with a lot different LLMs. So this is the end demand from their customer, and this is the trend that we are currently observing. And if your company are interested, or any startups here, you would like to build your Gen AI solutions, so you can scan this QR code here. We will be able to provide support for you to build your Gen AI solutions. So my sharing would stop here. I will pass the stage on to Kane, and he's very experienced in building Gen AI solution for his customers.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you. Could I check how much time do I have left? 10 to 15 minutes? Thank you. Thank you. So good morning, everyone. I'm Kane. I'm the founder of this company called ThinkCol Transform. We've been building machine learning solutions for 7-8 years, and recently been working a lot more on Gen AI. So we are mainly based in Hong Kong. So just doing traditional machine learning projects, such as supervised learning and supervised. But then in 2023, we started doing a lot of Gen AI projects. So when we do Gen AI projects, we started using a lot of Amazon services, AWS. And I think Noel really touched on something really important earlier, things like SageMaker and Bedrock. Something that Bedrock is really good at is provide you with the most state-of-the-art models through APIs. So you could use things like Claude 3, Mixtro, Llama 3, really, really quickly, just do an API. And my team don't have to spend all the time deploying it. Instead, we could just use an API and start playing with these LLMs to start building solutions. So I'm going to skip some of these slides. These are some of the more traditional machine learning projects that we have done. We do demand forecasting, assortment planning, NLP, OCR, and things like that. We work with government projects, enterprise projects, startups. But today, I want to focus more on LLMs. And since we only have 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to skip over most of my slides here. But I will start with this. So actually, at 2020, we started playing with LLMs. Back then, it was GPT-2. It was open source, back when it was GPT-2. And then we were playing with it. But then back then, it wasn't that good. Some movie director wanted to use GPT-2 to write a movie script. So we tried to do it for him. But then we realized that GPT-2 wasn't there yet. So then we were just playing with it, messing around with it, thought it was an interesting technology. But then in 2023, we started seeing that there is a lot more Gen AI hype. People start playing with LLMs a lot. And at first, people just want to build chat portals, right? Like LLM portals where you could just ask ChatGPT or Claude or any LLM just questions and it will answer. So it's how we kind of use LLMs regularly. Like ask you to write emails, ask you to summarize things. They want to put it into different social platforms like Slack or Teams or things like that. But then we start seeing better use cases. And as Noel mentioned, one of the use cases that we see the quickest is RAG. As he has mentioned, what you do is put all your Word, all your PDF, all your internal documents into a vector database. So whenever you start asking questions about your internal policies, or let's say your standard operating procedures, you would start answering. So it becomes a chatbot for all your internal knowledge. Now, this is very, very useful for a lot of companies. Because let's say I'm a large retail chain, and I have a lot of sales. I have to onboard the sales every time, but then they might not know about the product. So instead of just going out there and then reading a tons of things, they could just ask the chatbot, and the chatbot would return the information about this company, about their products, about their sales, back to the salesperson so that he could start selling the different products. And then afterwards, we start seeing people start migrating from just internal knowledge chatbot to actual chatbot that faces clients. Now, this is very scary, though. The reason behind that is because, as we all know, one of the biggest problems with LLM and Gen AI is that it hallucinates. It starts making up answers. It starts making up things. And that might cause reputational loss. So as a company, we spent a lot of time on building guardrails to protect the Gen AI and to ensure that the LLM doesn't say anything wrong or say anything that would ruin the reputation of companies. We also start seeing that more and more companies start using LLM to link to data and to APIs. So because every company has their own recommendation engine, right? Let's say if I'm a retail chain, I want to sell complementary products that is based on my own business knowledge. This, the Gen AI doesn't understand, and this, the Gen AI doesn't know. So you have to build your own recommendation model, and then from the APIs, you link to the recommendation model so that whenever the chatbot is generated by Gen AI, but whenever it gets information, it would send to the recommendation model to find out the right answers to send back to the client. Then we also start seeing a lot of text-to SQL cases, where with Gen AI, it could generate SQL statements to query database to return answers. I'll show a little bit more use cases of how companies have been using that afterwards. So let's go through some LLM use case, right? Again, this is something that my company did in early 2023, and that is that there is this omni-chat platform. So for example, this omni-chat platform allows people to ask questions through WeChat, through Line, through Facebook, through Instagram. And then they wanted to have a chat platform that everyone could answer all of those questions from all these different places, right? So what we did is help them to build a Gen AI recommendation engine to recommend what to answer. But then because they have many, many different clients, they have retail clients, insurance clients, banking clients. So all of these clients would have to upload their documents, so PDF and Word, into an upload portal. Then all of these upload portals would be put into a vector database that then the LLM could query from the vector database to understand about the products of these different companies to give the right answer. So we helped them build this, and it's up into production. And they were able to give recommended answers to many, many of the clients through this kind of thing. So, so then afterwards, we start seeing, after these kinds of RAG LLM service, we start seeing more and more retail use cases where they actually want to link to their data. One of the cases that we work with is a very large retail chain in Hong Kong. And they basically wanted to do a morning briefing. They have many, many stores in Hong Kong. The store manager doesn't know in the morning what they should focus on. Every day should be a little different. So what we use is we use Gen AI to generate a summary that focuses on 5 KPI every morning for this retail chain store manager to understand. So for, let's say, 200 stores in Hong Kong, each of the store manager will look at this morning briefing that's generated by Gen AI to know these are the 5 points that I should be focusing on today. Obviously, then the store manager might have additional questions, might have additional things they want to ask, and then the chatbot, they could ask the chatbot these questions. Like for example, for this product, when was the last time I did promotion on this product? And then the chatbot, using LLM, would query a database to find the answers and give it back to the store manager. So it kind of become a business analyst on the store manager's fingertips. Then we start seeing more use cases. A lot of times when we think of LLM and Gen AI, we think of us asking the LLM questions. But sometimes LLMs could ask us questions to gather information. This is really important for many, many things. For example, there's a startup in Hong Kong. It's a medical startup. And they basically wanted to ask the client a lot of questions to diagnose what kind of symptoms they have, right? So they have to go through a lot of logic, ask a lot of questions, ask a lot of personal information before they would come up with the diagnosis. And then they would generate a report doing that. So this, again, links to a recommendation engine. The LLM gathers information, understands everything about the client. Once it got all the information, they feed it into a recommendation model, comes out with the right diagnosis, and then sends it back to the client. And then from this, it would generate a report so that it could be sent to the doctor so the doctor could see whether the diagnosis is correct or not. And then finally, again, we also do a lot of customer service chatbot. It's very similar to the internal knowledge base that I mentioned earlier, but one of the things that we really focus on is guardrails. How do we protect the chatbot to make sure it doesn't say anything wrong? We work with an FSI on this, and one of the problems they have is that they have a lot of new promotional data. Like for the credit cards, there's new promotions for certain things. How do you quickly update it? And how do you evaluate to make sure that the answers that the LLM generates is correct? This is something that we spend a lot of time on. And we have to do a lot of model evaluation. And we use Bedrock a lot in helping us to do it quickly. And then finally, there's also a very large broadcasting service in Hong Kong. We help them to build a use case where first we transcribe all of the videos in Chinese and in English into text. Then we were able to put it into the RAG framework so people could start asking questions on videos. So let's say there is a video in the morning. They could quickly ask questions about it so that instead of having to run through an hour and 56 minutes video, they could just ask questions on it and it will be able to answer. You can ask it in Chinese or in English and it will be able to answer you any questions on the different videos. So this allows the news team to work a lot faster and to save a lot of time. So again, because of time, I'm going to stop right here. But again, thank you a lot for AWS and with Bedrock and SageMaker, which allows us to build production LLM and GenAI solutions quickly. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Kane, and thank you once again, Noel, for such an insightful sharing. So up next, we'll move on to our next keynote session on the future of AI and its pervasive impact. And I would like to invite Dr. Nuri Cankaya, the VP of AI Marketing at Intel, onto the stage. Hand over the stage to you.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon and good evening for the online viewers. Today, I will be sharing how Intel brings AI everywhere, and I'm so excited to be at Computex. This is my first time in Taiwan, and the Computex and InnoVEX is really an amazing show to share more about AI. So I want to start with a quick, how the AI is changing today. I mean, AWS, and you have seen great examples. It's in everyday life. I mean, a couple of years back, we couldn't imagine this is going to happen. But I have an 11-year-old son who goes to middle school. They have Llama models on their school computers, and they generate images and text with the guidance of teachers and using AI in their daily works. 1 year ago, none of those was a thing. So people were afraid of AI, this will disrupt the education, and now it's transforming the education. And we have seen a lot of solutions across the daily life. I mean, if you are using Teams, if you are using Zoom, if you are using many applications, AI is built on top of all the applications. And I want to make sure this is going to be really a big transformation happening. And before we start,
Welcome
I want
to the dawn of a new
let's
era,
roll a video quickly about that.
Where the transformative force of artificial intelligence is reshaping the very fabric of our world. AI is no longer just a concept. It's a powerful reality that demands our attention and action. Intel embraces the limitless potential of AI, accelerating innovation toward a future in which every business, every industry, and every individual is empowered to thrive. With Intel processors, accelerators, and software, you can leverage the right AI technology to support every area of your business. Maximize the value of your AI investments with the Intel infrastructure you know and trust. Optimized and engineered for modern enterprise AI, Intel helps you accelerate AI deployment. Discover tools available now for testing and development on the Intel Tiber Developer Cloud. Are you ready to accelerate your AI journey? Learn more at intel.com/AI.
So this is just a good showcase of how AI is literally everywhere. And if you have attended Pat's keynote, our CEO's keynote yesterday, every company will be an AI company, and every device will be an AI device. We expect that by 2030, this will be a $1 trillion market. So everyone in this room and watching online, this is a tremendous opportunity to be alive, developing applications, using the power of AI, because this is truly a remarkable moment. The upcoming 18 months is crucial to be developing some of the AI solutions and really be first in the market, because it's a booming market. And just share maybe more statistics. AI is in every CEO's discussion. Every company wants to develop solutions that will transform their journey. And it's not only on the, Gen AI is definitely top of mind. Large language models are taking by storm every company. There is boom of solutions and large language models on Hugging Face. But also, we see a lot of solutions deployed on the edge, and client is driving a lot of the changes. You will see, I will unpack that a little bit with the AI PC and how Intel provides AI to the client. But at the same time, to the data center, we work with AWS heavily on the Gaudi. I will explain that. There are solutions on the cloud. There will be options for every startup, every developer, and every enterprise to develop solutions. So AI will definitely disrupt. I was on stage 2 weeks ago at Build conference of Microsoft, and Sam Altman from OpenAI was there. And that's literally the moment, at 2000s, how the internet boom happened. This is the AI boom. And I will really share some of the things that will help you, because this is a rapid change. So I have a computer engineering degree, and I had a PhD on business. But really, looking at those years, this is 25 years ago, it will age me a little bit. But I had AI courses when I was a student at the university, and we did machine learning solutions. But all the things that was shared, like it wasn't possible because the transformer model was not introduced to the market. So what we have seen is like all those solutions was in place, like small pieces, like Amazon used that like heavily on the recommendation engines. But the Gen AI became a big thing with really that white paper and really generated a lot of the deep learning algorithms moving forward. And if you look at today, like we are looking at a future where AI is everywhere. We want to make sure it's responsible, it's sustainable, and it's secure. And again, I will share some of those. Because if you look at today, like most of the startups in this room, like the challenges are like there's a lot of options, right? So when you think about the complexity, there's no like an easy button that you can click and yeah, like I will do AI and this is the easy way. Unfortunately, it's not. But like we want to make sure, again, like you will see the product portfolio that we provide with the OEMs and cloud scale providers. How do we make this happen? The cost, I mean, good luck if you want to do something with the GPUs today. You have to be really closely working with some partners. But that's the good news I will share. Like the cost-wise, we are 1/3 of the price, and we made major announcements yesterday on our keynote that we are making some investments in this area. And finally, like if you look at the human aspect, we want to make sure we put the human first, because by 2029, like mark my words, like 5 years later, we will be discussing AGI in this room maybe, and artificial general intelligence will be an important topic for everyone alive on the planet, because then AI will be a key part of our daily lives, and it will be on multiple places. So how are we ready? How do we put human in the picture? How do we put sustainability? How do you put responsible AI into picture? So that's where I will have like 2 outcomes, because as Intel, we want to help our customers and partners to be in this journey with the outcomes, the business value that we add. The first thing is we want to maximize value. So that's the first piece. We want to make sure AI is accessible, AI is like cost effective, and you can develop now. And the second thing is we really want to accelerate innovation, and while keeping all the other components together. Let me start with the first one, the maximizing value. Maximizing value means like you should be able to have access to AI models on your terms. You have seen like great examples the session before me, but if you want to test some of the models on your PC, it wasn't a thing until yesterday. So like we have introduced a lot of things in the market, which is also like a big category, because AI PC is a new category the world has not seen. And we already shipped 8 million units of AI PCs with our partners. This means that on your local PC, not without going to cloud or having a data center, you can run up to 500 different large language models on your PC. Because for the first time, Intel is bringing CPU, GPU, and NPU together in one chipset, which is the Core Ultra. And again, we are really proud because yesterday we introduced the Lunar Lake, which is the upcoming one, more than 40 TOPS that will run also Microsoft's Copilot. But this is like just the beginning of a new era for the personal computing. I don't know when did you last time refresh your PC, but there wasn't a reason. I mean, all the systems that you have. Now, AI on your terms, AI on your PC, this will unlock a tremendous opportunity for developers, because for the first time, you will have really smart clients that can use the power of NPU, neural processing unit, at the client. And this is not just on the client side, but on the middle, you will see the data center. And I will unpack that one, but we really want to make sure people are getting the best outcomes from our data center solutions, especially on Xeon processing. And finally, the software solutions. You will see on my slides that we are a true believer of open source. And we want to make sure everything it's done on AI supports the open standards and open platform. And Intel is a big believer of that. Unlike our competition, we are not a proprietary solution. You don't have to learn anything. You can use your existing knowledge. And if you move that, this is exactly the second piece, the biggest outcome, accelerate innovation. We want to make sure all the AI developers use the solutions they love. We are a part of the PyTorch Foundation. Everything that runs on the platforms of the open source, we run on Intel. So which means like the Xeon processors, Intel Gaudi AI accelerators, and our AI PC with the Core Ultra, they are built up on open standards. This will help you because you can use any language you want. You are not stuck with CUDA. You can develop solutions wherever you want, on the cloud, on the edge, on the data center, because we provide you the flexibility. Because Intel is helping you to develop solutions with open source, and we are a big part of the Open Platform Foundation. We partnered with Linux Foundation a couple of introduced that to the market at Phoenix with our Vision event. And finally, like we have our Intel Tiber Developer Cloud, where you can go, and this is a call to action at the end of my slide. You will see you can go to cloud.intel.com before you go to AWS or like you use on your own platform. You can try it here, and it will be an easy migration because we don't provide the holistic platform, but we provide you the springboard that you can accelerate your innovation. And moving forward, like we want to make sure, building on top of like the TCO, the total cost of ownership, and accelerating innovation, we have the foundation of building all this on sustainably. We want to make sure we want to support the security. And finally, like all the models, everything we deployed are responsible. And these are the foundations for our work. And if I unpack, again, these are the business outcomes. We want to help our customers to achieve their outcomes. How Intel's portfolio is helping that to make it happen. Let's unpack that one. I love this continuum circle because, again, AI is a journey. You don't just like hit a button and it never ends. It continues. It starts with the data preparation. If you're a startup, you have to know your customers, like what's the data points they have today and how do they collect the data. Many people skip that step and like, hey, like I will download an LLM and I will just hit a button. It doesn't work that way. And data preparation, creating that guardrails for your secure environment is as important as building and training the model. But training is a big part of the compute, where I will also share some of the solutions. But after the training, you are not done. You have to do fine-tuning. You have to build the solutions. And everyone who uses that solution, they have to extract the information, talk with the chatbot, talk with the large language model, and get that inferencing outcome. And after that, you train the model like again and again. Like this is a continuous circle. And if we really want to bring this AI everywhere, this means every industry will be changing rapidly. These are the 4 industries we believe that will be a dramatic change, and they will need AI. Retail is a good example. Again, that was a great example before, because we believe the consumers will love the retail experiences, especially with generative AI solutions. The second big industry will be manufacturing. For all the startups in the room, this is a massive opportunity because you can do a lot of things. The old IoT of the world is now becoming alive. Machine learning solutions are really becoming a center of the solutions for manufacturing companies. Healthcare. I mean, if you visit Intel's booth on the 5th floor, you will see it's an amazing solution with Samsung that we developed. The MRI scans and all the X-rays can be analyzed at the client using some large language models. And you can query that with your natural language processing. Those are some good examples. And with the 5G and everything on the networking side, we are just like in the early stages of transformation in those industries. And let me unpack it more into 3 categories. The first one is the AI PC. We are really proud we coined the term. I joined Intel 10 months ago. I worked at Microsoft 17 years before. And this is like to my heart. Intel has been already working on AI PC as a category. And as of today, from December to now, we have shipped 8 million devices. So again, there's a huge momentum. While the competition is just announcing the solutions today, Intel has been working with Lenovo, Dell, HP, and also working with some OEM partners like Asus, Acer, directly from Taiwan. We want to make sure that we really help our customers, both on the consumer side as well as the commercial side, take the advantage of AI on their PCs. And this is a great benefit because, again, everyone in this room has the benefit of writing a new developed application that runs on the client and that drives the solution. Let me give you an interesting statistics. Like all the LLMs, including ChatGPT, all the parameters has been using only 10% of the data available. 90% of the world's data is still on-premise. because the company's IP depends on that data. And you will see RAG, the retrieval augmented generation kind of solutions. We believe these startups can develop a lot of applications using solutions like the AI PC as the client and bring AI to the PCs, to their environment, which is safe and secure. This will create a lot of opportunities, including gaming. We haven't seen the early generations, but that will be a great solutions on the productivity side. With Microsoft's Copilot, we have seen it. With Adobe's Firefly solutions, we see it on the client. Now we are bringing Adobe solutions on the client. We have AI acceleration program, which we launched in Taiwan a couple of months back, and we are excited to see more than 100 ISV solutions running on the AI PC already. The second piece is edge. So I want to make sure everybody gets maybe the laws of edge, because you cannot send everything to the cloud. You have to be really working on the edge, which is the end client, and it's really expensive. So the laws of edge is like, first, the economics. It's not cheap to send all the data back and forth to the cloud. The second one is you have to make fast, critical decisions quickly. So you need that decision at the client. And at the same time, the land. Sometimes you have to keep the data on the solution. The healthcare example that I gave, it's a really important PII data that you cannot send it to any cloud provider. So on this picture, I want to make sure edge is just the starting point. Edge AI is already a big thing. We have more than 84,000 solutions deployed as Intel. We are a big platform provider for our customers. We work with a lot of global system integrators like Accenture, Wipro, EY, that getting the solutions as a package for AI is critical. But the most critical one is, of course, the data center. And the big innovation is happening at the data center side. Yesterday, we were proud to announce the Intel Xeon 6 processors, both for power efficiency and productivity. And I want to make sure the performance for AI is critical. And all these data centers around the globe, they heavily run on Intel solutions. But again, with Intel Xeon 6, we provide efficiency. And efficiency is the key, because less consumption means you can do more with your infrastructure. And similarly, on the power performance side, we want to achieve fast acceleration with the new innovation. If I unpack that one, this means that up to 70 billion parameters, you can run the large language models on a CPU. Again, we will see a lot of the things on this side of the business, making sure it's not just the GPU needs, but CPU is a big part of general purpose AI in the long run. And again, we have seen that performance improvement. When I joined the company, we had Xeon 4. Couple of months, we introduced Xeon 5. Now we are introducing Xeon 6. So we are in a fast pace of innovation at Intel, and I want to make sure all the customers, all the startups are getting the benefit out of that one. By the way, I will share the slides on my LinkedIn profile. Specifically, this slide is a great one, because this has a lot of the research that we do with Gartner, IDC. What are the key solutions that our customers are looking for? It will be great to partner with you all on the startup ecosystem. Like, how do we develop this by industry, and how do we go to market together with you and making this happen on the data center side? And it's all about looking at the data center. It's a new business portfolio. It's all about getting that acceleration fast and making sure enterprise AI needs are covered. If you haven't heard about the RAG, again, I don't have time to cover in depth, but this is really important. Retrieval augmented generation enables the enterprise customers using their own data and the power of generative AI all together. As Intel, we are a big part of that RAG initiative. And as I said, with the Linux Foundation work, we want to make sure the open platform for enterprise AI is our key message that we land. And finally, I want to end with our hero product for the future. Maybe you have seen it, but our hero power is on the AI acceleration. And this is a specific accelerator. It's not a GPU. It's an AI accelerator built for specifically AI tasks on the training, fine-tuning, and inferencing. And Intel Gaudi 3 has been really positive in the market. We have Gaudi available on AWS today. We are proud to partner with a lot of OEM partners like Dell, Lenovo, HPE, Supermicro on the delivery of these solutions. And again, this is just accelerating. If you visit our booth, you will see Gaudi 3 system designs, because it's not just the product. we look at from a systems perspective how CPUs, GPUs, and NPUs are working together. And on the competition side, this is 1/3 of the price of NVIDIA. I know, like, Jensen's keynote was there, and you have seen a lot of comparisons. And our Pat's keynote, our CEO's keynote, you have seen some of the comparisons on the performance. We really beat H100 on the performance and on the price. And we had a great RAG demo on our keynote. If you missed it, it's still online. But I want to highlight our outcomes first. We want to make sure we provide TCO for our customers. It's 1/3 of the price with Gaudi, with Xeon, and AI PC. And we want to make sure we provide that open platform approach to accelerate innovation. We are not a closed proprietary solution. We provide access to startups. And finally, I want to maybe share some of the links, which is critical for this audience, because you can go and try right now. You can develop solutions from starting the basic copilots to really featuring and building maybe the next generation AGI. And this is the link. If you go to cloud.intel.com, you can experience all the products that I mentioned, but it's mainly the systems approach. So we want to make sure the software, all the hardware layer, comes together as a systems, and we provide, as Intel, all the hardware, all the solutions to our partners to enable and accelerate and bring AI everywhere. With that, I want to thank for this opportunity and hand it over to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cankaya, for such an informative sharing. Please kindly return to your seats. Isn't it interesting? So we're moving on to the field of computational optics. And then getting us through this innovative space is going to be Mr. Raveen Kumaran, the VP of Technology and Innovation of Barco.
Well, hello, everyone. Let's now put on our hat for computational optics. It's a bit of a mouthful. It's not large language models, but what is it really? Computational optics is about leveraging sophisticated algorithms, bringing it into the edge-to-edge pipeline of image capture, image processing, and display to create new functionality that, let's face it, classical end-to-end pipeline cannot reproduce. So that's one thing. You can do new features. The second thing is you can also do the same features that you did before at much lower cost or with simplified hardware. Now, Barco is probably a not very common name like Intel or AWS. So as way of introduction, let's first talk a bit about Barco. Now, Barco is a world leader in visualization, networking, and collaboration equipment, but we focus mainly on the B2B markets. So that's why we're not really consumer-facing. We make typically products in 3 divisions: healthcare, enterprise, and entertainment. So as an example, in healthcare, we make the high-resolution, high-dynamic range diagnostic imaging displays that are useful for your medical practitioner. We also provide surgical monitors as well as the AV over IP secure low latency video management systems that go into operating rooms. On the enterprise side of things, we develop ClickShare, which is our leading meeting room collaboration platform. Also, we're present in control rooms where we have large video walls as well as the control room software to run things to make sure that the airports work well, your transit systems work well, and so on. In entertainment, we are the world leader in cinema projection. So most cinemas that you will go to today run a Barco projector. We have very excellent image quality that Hollywood studios and worldwide studios can count on to reproduce their content accurately. We're also present in events and rental, right? So when you go to a big concert and there's great visualizations, chances are they're using Barco projectors or LED walls. Now, our market is largely 1/3 of each of those divisions, right? Healthcare, enterprise, and entertainment. And geographically, the market is also roughly 1/3 between Europe, Africa, as well as Americas and Asia Pacific. Overall, the company is about 3,000 people across 48 countries, and with R&D in Europe, North America, and India and China, and Taiwan. Now, Barco is actually a fairly old company. We've been around for 90 years. This is our 90th anniversary. And we have a history of innovation. We started with the radios. That's actually where the name of the company comes from. Barco stands for Belgian American Radio Corporation. So back in the day, 1934, an enterprising young man made radios, and then Barco was born. And shortly after that, we moved to TVs, jukeboxes, and then something really cool, video projectors that went into airplanes, so you could see movies on an airplane. And then later on, we expanded to various application-specific displays, like displays for simulation domes, displays for in medical, as well as large format displays for cinema and events. We also introduced ClickShare, right, that meeting room collaboration system, in the last 10 years or so. Now, as part of that innovation, we work very closely with the customer to realize what is important to them. Now, today we not just produce hardware, but we also deliver a full end-to-end pipeline, including the software, as well as services, to make sure that your functionality is as rich as possible, but also there's peace of mind in operating your equipment. Now, I'd like to show you some infographics about where our products go in the various divisions. So in enterprise, we have simulators for virtual reality for people who are making CAD design. We have the meeting rooms where the ClickShare is present. We have experience centers that require large immersive projection. We have lobbies, right, with LED walls, and so on. Let's get to the next one. So on entertainment, like I mentioned, cinemas. We are also present in, live events, meeting rooms, the lobbies, museums. And on healthcare, we're basically wherever your medical practitioner needs to see medical data as accurately as possible, right, with diagnostic displays. We're also in operator rooms, as I mentioned, and a variety of scenarios. The way I like to think about it is that Barco products are everywhere people meet or get together to either have fun, work together, or enable or improve patient outcomes. So we're really about that communal experience, I think. Now, we can talk about it a bit later, but because we are pervasive across these various divisions, across these various products, we're actually, I guess, front and center on the edge. And that gives us a wonderful opportunity to learn and train. Now, of course, there is some question about where, how to collect data and so on. But I think it just puts us in a very interesting position. But really, the topic of my talk today is about computational optics, and specifically the visual chain that we have in Barco, this end-to-end pipeline, and how we can leverage AI to enhance it. So we'll start with the various steps in the visual chain. So on one hand, you have the displays, like medical displays, or the cinema projectors, or the video walls in control rooms. Secondly, you have the image processing or rendering devices, like media servers that handle the content, also make adjustments to the content. We have video switchers that are used in, let's say, events, right, where you will have multiple sources from various cameras, and you need to have the ability to switch between the sources to create this exciting broadcast. And we have controllers that drive the video walls. After that, we have distribution and transmission. And here we have things like the Nexus platform that we use in operating rooms to provide secure video management services to surgeons, as well as the ClickShare platform for being able to share content easily in meeting rooms. We also have optimization and manipulation with a technology called light steering. I'll talk a bit about that later. And finally, the acquisition and capture. So that's embodied by our skin imaging camera called Dermicus. So for computational optics, we have enhancements in all of these segments that leverage AI. Now, just as a caveat, there's a lot of classical image processing, a lot of classical optics that we need to enhance first in this entire pipeline. The AI enhancements really build on top of that. So it's this happy marriage between classical and AI that I think is it's a very unique space for us to play. So starting with the visualization on the display side, generative AI, everyone's familiar with that. But how would that be useful for Barco? For example, when you go to these large outdoor projection environments and you have a plethora of projectors with tons of pixels, but then they're showing typically standard content that has been upsampled. Now, of course, if you're standing far away, you don't really see the individual pixels. But if you have a chance to get close, right, if you go into these immersive digital art installations, then maybe the detail is a little bit substandard. Now, of course, with standard image processing, you can do interpolation, which just increases the resolution, but without really adding to the detail. Now, with generative AI, what you could do is, and what we have done, is to enhance the content by adding detail. Now, we don't want to take away from the creative intent of the show creator. We don't want to add detail that kind of distracts, but rather subtly enriches, but provides that a little bit of an edge, let's say. So that's what we call generative AI for upsampling. On the process and rendering side, let's start with the video switchers. So typically in an environment like today, right, in a broadcast, you have a number of cameras, and during the broadcast, they're switching between the various feeds, looking at the presentation, looking at the presenter, and that's all controlled by a human, right, the broadcast director. But with AI enhancements and PZT cameras, you can actually offload a lot of that to an AI software director. So imagine, right, the ability to have much simpler, lower cost, faster to set up broadcast that leverages these AI studio directors. The ability to manipulate the cameras to identify where people are, where people in the audience are looking at. Is the gaze supposed to be on the presentation material or the presenter? Or maybe even if you have a panel discussion on the various panelists as they talk. Now, besides a typical panel, let's say, you could also have scenarios where people are all intermingling, like a dance recital or some kind of acting. In that case, we're able to do multi-person tracking. Now, what's interesting is we can also do it anonymously, so without really knowing who the people are, but by tracking and identifying certain features and then following that. We can also do the various scene analysis, like I mentioned. Is this a panel discussion, or is this the intermingling of a dance troupe? And the best part is that we don't necessarily want to take over or take full control from the broadcast director, but rather provide tools or presets that makes it easier for that person. Now, of course, if you're running a YouTube studio and you really are on a shoestring budget, we could also have the fully automated approach. So that's video switchers. But on media servers, we also have the ability to enhance content with AI. So typically today, you have a lot of classical image processing to make content more visible, more accurate in the framing to match the display. But with AI enhancements, you can identify what features are more important. You know, if you're watching a movie and let's say on a very large screen, and for some reason you have issues with the ambient lighting, or maybe your display is not as bright as possible. And you can use these AI enhancements to make, you know, the important parts of that movie, right, more visible. On the distribution and transmission side, so I mentioned the Nexus OR video management system. Now we can bring compute to that, so that you don't just have video, you know, securely going between various feeds to the OR management, but rather you can provide classification, or you can provide foreign object detection, right, to enhance or to make, you know, operations more successful. On the ClickShare side, you can improve the whole meeting room equity by providing the ability to have, you know, remote participants see other participants in, let's say, you know, appropriate or larger sizes, so that it's not, you know, 4 people in a room that, you know, you kind of lose perspective of the people in the back. I'll get to light steering in a second, but we'll talk about acquisition and capture. So in our skin imaging system, we have the ability to basically provide dermatologists with a tool for tracking the evolution of you know, their patients' skin issues. And with that, also provide, you know, better risk analysis, you know, when something needs to be maybe escalated to the next level of severity. And on light steering, so as I mentioned, it's a optimization and manipulation technique, but it's really about a new approach of image formation. And it relies heavily on very sophisticated image you know, formation algorithms. But it also has opportunities for further improvement with AI models. So let me give you first a quick intro onto light steering. And the idea behind it is that we can shape the illumination of a projection display based on the content. So as content is being displayed in real time, certain highlights could be made much brighter than possible with a conventional display. And we do that by this new form of imaging. So if you look at a traditional projection display, in this case we're talking laser TVs, you have uniform illumination onto a little micro display chip. And if you want to make content, you have basically your pixels either fully open or fully closed or somewhere in between to generate that content. But it's very wasteful because all of that uniform illumination has been lost, right? It's blocked. With the light steering, or in this case we call it Barco Bright for laser TV, we're able to shape that illumination in real time and focus it into highlights. So your lightsabers in Star Wars now become much brighter. Your HDR effect becomes much more significant because not just your highlights are better, but also your dark levels are much deeper because you have relocated or shaped the illumination away from the shadows. Now, the classical algorithms here are the ones that are fully predictable, very complicated, but they are the ones that, you know, being run in real time allow us to get that HDR effect. But with AI enhancements, we can go a little bit further. On one hand, we can identify features that should be accentuated. We can also do things like ambient detection. So assuming you have projection in a very bright environment and it's hard to see, the projection looks washed out, we are now able to identify the important bits in the content and focus more light into that so that people can see and, you know, have a better perception of the display. Furthermore, we can also on a larger scale bring this to interaction, where by looking at what people are looking at or how they interact with a display, we can concentrate light to make those elements more interesting. Or we can move the light to something that the audience should be looking to, right, to direct their gaze. Now, that's kind of a sample of the various AI enhancements that we can do in Barco. But we also have a demo here at InnoVEX, actually just a little over that way at the Flanders investment booth. And this demo is a concept of the hybrid meeting room of tomorrow. So we have, as part of this demo, a showcase with the latest Barco ClickShare equipment to show how the meeting rooms of today work. And it's, it involves much more consolidated hardware that provide the display, the microphone, the sound system. So it's really easy to use in today's meeting rooms. But that being said, when you launch your typical Microsoft Teams or Zoom call, you're going to end up with an experience that is largely, I'd say, lacking in the immersion and interpersonality that comes from face-to-face communication. And what I mean by that is you end up seeing people in tiny little boxes, and you have no idea what they're looking at. Now, our concept demo involves large-scale projection to be able to recreate life-sized people so that you're looking at people that, if they were present in person, it would look appropriate in size. Furthermore, we also have the ability to track your gaze so that when people are looking at you, it's actually like they are looking at you. Likewise, when other remote participants are talking to each other, it will look like they are talking to each other. So in essence, it's like we are recreating a live, interactive meeting experience, but with people across the globe, right? In Vancouver, Taiwan, and so on. So please come see our demo there. And with that, I would like to say thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your presentation. I think we all get an idea of what is computational optics. I think you can chat with Dr. Raveen after the session. Oh, okay, our Ms. Katrin is already on the stage, so I'll hand over the stage to you to share on the Taiwanese startup ecosystem.
Hi everyone, good morning. I'm really excited to be here at InnoVEX and experience the Taiwanese ecosystem in action. We've been researching about Taiwan since 2020, and I'm excited to share with you some insights that we just released last week on our Global Startup Ecosystem Index about the Taiwanese ecosystems. Yeah, so here's a bit of our agenda. Before I start, I want to introduce a bit about StartupBlink and what we do. We're a global map and research center. We work with government agencies, multinationals, and also corporate innovation programs in analyzing ecosystems globally or working directly with startups. So if you have a startup yourself, feel free to add yourself to our map. We have a global map there. You can filter it with industries or also per location. Every year, we release a report, which is the Global Startup Ecosystem Index, where we rank 100 countries and over 1,000 cities globally based on the state of their ecosystems. We just released the most recent one in May 30, so a few days ago. And there were really great insights. If you're interested to find out more, also find out where your city or your country is ranked, you can head over to report.startupblink.com. So basically our research is based on a methodology that takes into account 40 different parameters. These parameters are boxed into 3 main baskets of quantity, quality, and business score. And that's how we are able to rank those countries and cities. So maybe you're asking, why is it important for me to choose the right ecosystem? Does it really matter? We find that it does. So if you are in a good location, usually you'll be able to get a lot of benefits either from the government or from other stakeholders. If you also choose an ecosystem that's relevant for your industry or for your target geography, you'll be able to also find like-minded startups that would be also interesting to collaborate or also get ideas from. So now let's move on to a probably more relevant part, which is finding out the results of Taiwan this year. We're very happy to say that Taiwan increased 2 spots this year. It's now 22nd globally out of more than 100 countries that we're ranking. And it's very special because it's a small country, but it has 6 ranked cities. Taipei at the top, of course, and then we have the second-tier cities, Hsinchu, Taoyuan, Tainan, and then we also have Taichung and Kaohsiung. Really excited to see that all of those cities are actually increasing this year, showing the strength of our ecosystem. More about the strengths of Taiwan. We see that since we started ranking Taiwan in 2020, it has been having a really good momentum, and it's been increasing consistently. Now it's at 22nd, and its regional rank has been consistent at 7th in Asia Pacific. Like I mentioned a while ago, our methodology is based on 3 baskets. And since we are very data-oriented, we can actually pinpoint which parameters a country or a city is performing well in. So for example, for Taiwan, we see that it's actually 3rd globally in terms of its impact of public companies' capitalization. We see it also at Computex. There's a lot of companies and corporates in Taiwan, and that also benefits the startup ecosystem. Another key thing is about the impact of pantheons. Pantheons is a term that we coined. These are corporates or organizations that really influence the ecosystem, and Taiwan is 9th there. Moving on to business environment. So business environment looks at how easy it is for any business owner to set up their own business in a certain location, and Taiwan is doing well there as well. They're 3rd in business friendliness in Asia, meaning that compared relatively to the region, it's easier to set up your own business or startup in Taiwan. There's also really good R&D expenditure, and I think we see it here in this event. A lot of our startups are actually very tech-heavy, as opposed to a lot of other locations where usually it's more social or e-commerce. In Taiwan, we really see that a lot of the startups really focus on tech, and this is also the strength of the ecosystem. Some of the industries that Taiwan is really overperforming in this year, the first notable one is hardware and IoT, where it's 3rd globally. Cybersecurity, where it's 2nd in Asia, and the theme of this year's event, artificial intelligence, where it's 5th in Asia. So we're really seeing a lot of movements in these industries in the ecosystem. Other noteworthy industries are medtech, manufacturing, and also clean tech. So now let's move on to just Taipei. So Taipei is in the top 5% cities in 2024. It's 8th in Asia, and it's 3rd among its cities in the same tier. Industry strengths of Taiwan is smart city, so it's actually 1st globally, which is something to be really excited about. And it's also overperforming in hardware and IoT and financial technology. Moving on, there's other industries like manufacturing and also artificial intelligence and sustainability, where Taiwan is really doing well in. So if you're a startup and you're just starting, you're ideating, these would be the industries where we really suggest that you focus on if you want to be based in Taipei. Moving on to Hsinchu. So Hsinchu is in the top 13% in 2024. It's 13th in Asia, and it increased 11 spots. So that's a really big increase for a city in its tier. Industry strengths, because Taiwan as a whole is strong in hardware and IoT, all of its cities are actually doing well there. Another interesting one for Hsinchu is nanotechnology, where it's 3rd globally, and manufacturing, which is 7th in Asia. So the rest of the Taiwanese cities, we see that, as you saw a while ago, they're having good momentum for all cities. There's 6 ranked cities, and Tainan is the biggest winner this year with increase of 77 spots. Industry strengths overall in those cities are consumer electronics, nanotechnology, and manufacturing. So what does this mean actually? So these rankings show that Taiwan, even though it's a relatively smaller country, is very diverse. So a lot of other countries have just one main hub, and the other cities are not even ranked or not even relevant for startups. But we see in Taiwan that's not the case, and that actually helps in diversifying the ecosystem. Although there is diversification, we see still Taipei is to the top, but we are seeing the other cities in the lower tiers catching up to Taipei. And then the third one is about the industries. Like we saw, hardware and IoT and energy and environment are the top ones to watch out for in Taiwan. And Taiwan is overperforming in business friendliness. So for startups, it's really easy, or it's really beneficial to start in Taiwan because there's a lot of support and help from the government and also from the community to build your startup. Yeah, and actually that's it. So thank you everyone, and I'm really excited to be here. We're excited to see the more developments in the Taiwanese ecosystems in the following years.
All right, thank you so much, Katrin, for sharing your insights on the Taiwan ecosystem, startup ecosystem in general. I think I would like to wrap up the forum, and thank you all, everyone here, for attending today's forum event. We hope you found this session really insightful, and if you would like to know more about the details, please look for our speakers for more exchange of ideas and interactions. So I'll wrap for the AI Kickoff journey, and I will see you later at 1 p.m. Thank you.